Hello and welcome. My name is Jeffrey Johnson. Today we're going to analyse a very famous sermon by Dr. Martyn Lloyd-Jones, who was a pastor in central London for many years. He spent 13 years working his way on a Friday night through Paul's letter to the Romans. And in chapter 5 and verse 3, he covers an interesting and important subject, and that is the suffering Christian. Paul says that we rejoice in our suffering because we know that suffering produces perseverance. It produces character. Now, Lloyd-Jones had his own unusual style of teaching. He would take a passage of scripture, he would work out what the theology of that was, and then he would search the Bible for every verse and every nuance, and he would take the theology of Paul, not just his words, not just the exposition, but he would take it at a very deep level. And so the big idea is obviously what is just written there. Christians rejoice in their suffering. They don't rejoice because they suffer, but they rejoice because they know something about what their suffering is doing for them. It seems that Lloyd-Jones's big question, and he seems to do this with almost all of his sermons, is to ask this question: what does the Bible say about this subject? It's not one that I advise you to do, but Lloyd-Jones was a brilliant man. And of course, the outline is simple. Christians suffer, Christians rejoice in their suffering, Christians know something about what their suffering is doing. It is producing perseverance. It is producing character. Now, I adapted this sermon, and I've preached it on at least 20 different occasions in 20 different churches, always with the most amazing results. Because the first point is, Christians suffer and it's not their fault. People would come up to me afterwards and say, I really needed to hear that. Thank you so much for it. And so I encourage you to use this. I encourage you to buy Lloyd-Jones's commentaries and to study the great man's thoughts for yourself.